Have you ever considered the power of doing absolutely nothing? It's a thought-provoking question, isn't it? We're often so caught up in the whirlwind of life, so entranced by the hustle and bustle, that the notion of doing nothing seems almost alien. We live in a society that glorifies doing. Being busy is often seen as a badge of honor, a sign of productivity and purpose. We're conditioned to believe that every moment must be filled with activity, that every second must be used to achieve, to move forward. But what if we told you that this constant push for productivity isn't always beneficial? That sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. That's right, nothing. Just sitting with your thoughts, just being in the moment, just existing. This concept of doing nothing isn't about laziness or procrastination. It's about personal growth. It's about mental health. What if I told you that doing nothing can be the most productive thing you can do? Science has something to say about the benefits of doing nothing. It might seem counterintuitive, but research has shown that there's a lot happening in our brains when we seemingly do nothing. Let's start with the basics. Our brain is always active, even when we're at rest. This is because of a network of brain regions known as the default mode network, or DMN. The DMN is most active when we're not focused on the outside world and the brain is at wakeful rest, like daydreaming, envisioning the future, or thinking about others. In other words, when we're doing nothing. Scientists have found that this network is crucial for mental processes that develop our understanding of human behavior, provide us with a sense of self, and help us make sense of the past. When the DMN is active, we're able to think more deeply and solve complex problems more creatively. In addition to this, doing nothing gives our brain a much-needed break, reducing stress and anxiety. Studies have shown that constant work without breaks can lead to a decline in cognitive performance. In other words, too much focus can actually make us less focused. Furthermore, research has also shown that periods of rest can enhance memory recall. During these times of rest, the brain reviews and ingrains what it's learned, making it an essential part of learning. Perhaps most interestingly, studies have found that doing nothing can increase empathy and encourage altruism. This is because periods of rest allow us to reflect on our relationships and experiences, fostering a greater understanding and empathy for others. In essence, doing nothing doesn't mean that our brain is inactive. Rather, it switches to a different mode of activity, one that's essential for our well-being and cognitive function. This is not to say that we should always be in a state of rest and inactivity, but rather that balance is key. Just as we need sleep after a day of activities, our brains also need periods of rest to function optimally. As it appears, our brains are incredibly active when we're doing nothing. Doing nothing is not as easy as it sounds. It's an art. This might sound paradoxical, but it's indeed a profound truth. In our fast-paced, hyper-connected world, we've grown accustomed to constant activity and stimulation. But what if I told you that doing nothing could be the key to unlocking a more fulfilling life? Well, it's not just about lounging around aimlessly. It's about embracing mindfulness and meditation, two structured ways of doing nothing. Let's delve a little deeper into these practices. Mindfulness is about fully engaging with the present moment. It's about noticing the world around you, your thoughts, your feelings, without judgment. When practicing mindfulness, you're not trying to achieve anything. You're not trying to solve problems or plan for the future. You're simply observing, being present, doing nothing but existing in the now. Meditation, on the other hand, is a more structured practice. It's about setting aside time to sit in stillness, to focus on your breath, or perhaps a mantra. Again, the goal is not to achieve anything. It's to let go of the constant stream of thoughts and simply be. Both mindfulness and meditation can offer numerous benefits. They can help manage stress by teaching you to step back from your thoughts and emotions rather than getting swept up in them. They can improve focus by training your mind to stay present rather than constantly jumping from one thought to another. And they can increase self-awareness, helping you understand your patterns of thought and how they affect your emotions and behaviors. So, doing nothing is not about laziness or inactivity. It's about consciously choosing to disengage from the hustle and bustle of life, to simply be. It's about learning to find peace in stillness, to appreciate the beauty of the present moment. And in a world that glorifies busyness and productivity, learning to do nothing can be a radical act of self-care and resistance. It can be a pathway to a more mindful, more peaceful, and ultimately a more fulfilling life. So how do we learn to do nothing? Embracing nothingness requires conscious effort and practice. Let's dive into some strategies to help you get there. First and foremost, set aside nothing time. This could be just 5 minutes a day or an hour a week. The duration isn't as important as the commitment. This is time for you and only you. Time where you don't have to do, achieve, or prove anything. It's a moment to just be. Now you might be thinking, but I'm so busy, I don't have time to do nothing. And that's where the second strategy comes in, mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of paying full attention to the present moment without judgment. You can practice mindfulness anywhere, anytime, while you're washing dishes, taking a shower, or even during your commute. It's not about carving out extra time in your day, but rather about changing how you interact with the time you already have. The third strategy is reducing screen time. In this digital age, we're constantly bombarded with information, notifications, and the endless scroll of social media. It's easy to get lost in the virtual world and forget about the present moment. Try setting boundaries for your screen time. Maybe that's no screens after 8 in the evening, or perhaps it's a no-phone zone in your bedroom. Find what works for you and stick to it. Lastly, embrace solitude. Solitude is not loneliness, rather it's the state of being alone without feeling lonely. It's an opportunity to connect with yourself on a deeper level. Solitude offers a break from the constant noise of the outside world, allowing you to listen to your own thoughts and feelings. These strategies are not one size fits all. They're flexible, adaptable, and can be tailored to fit your lifestyle. The key here is to start small, be consistent, and be patient with yourself. Remember, this is a journey, not a destination. Remember, it's not about being idle, it's about being present. So, what happens when we start to embrace doing nothing? Well, the benefits are vast and varied. You may not realize it, but the act of doing nothing can actually lead to a surge in creativity. When we stop and let our minds wander, we give ourselves the freedom to think outside the box and come up with innovative ideas. It's no coincidence that many of the world's greatest inventions and discoveries came about during periods of quiet contemplation. Doing nothing also has a profound impact on our mental health. In this fast-paced world, we're constantly bombarded with information and demands, which can lead to stress, anxiety, and burnout. But when we take time to do nothing, we allow our minds to rest and recharge. This can lead to a decrease in stress levels, an improvement in mood, and an overall increase in well-being. Now, let's talk about decision-making. When we're always on the go, we often make decisions hastily, without fully considering all the options. But when we take a step back and do nothing, we give ourselves the time and space to weigh the pros and cons, consider different perspectives, and make more thoughtful, informed decisions. And what about productivity? Ironically, doing nothing can actually make us more productive. When we're constantly working, we can easily become overwhelmed and lose focus. But by taking regular breaks to do nothing, we can maintain our energy levels, stay focused, and ultimately get more done. In summary, doing nothing is not a waste of time. Quite the contrary, it's a valuable tool that can boost our creativity, improve our mental health, enhance our decision-making, and increase our productivity. So next time you're feeling overwhelmed or stuck, remember the power of doing nothing. Take a moment to sit back, relax, and just be. You might be surprised at what you discover. Doing nothing, it turns out, can lead to quite something. Doing nothing isn't about laziness or lack of ambition. Instead, it's about understanding that our minds, much like our bodies, need time to rest and rejuvenate. It's about recognizing that our value is not solely defined by our productivity or our accomplishments, but by our ability to be present, to be mindful, and to be at peace with ourselves. The power of doing nothing lies in its ability to help us reconnect with ourselves, to help us gain clarity, and to help us maintain our mental and emotional health. It's about challenging the societal norms that equate constant busyness with success and embracing periods of nothingness as essential elements of our well-being. So, the next time you find yourself overwhelmed by the pressures of life, remember the power of doing nothing. Allow yourself to sit in silence, to breathe, to simply be. In the end, sometimes the most productive thing you can do is to do nothing at all.